So we are very glad to all of you have today here. Actually, our panel name is the New Ways and the New Horizons. We are going to focus on the what's happening in the Industry 4.0 and the factories and all the industries. So today we have a actually different panels portfolio, which is really good for us. We have an international guest from the World Economic Forum, Francisco BETTI, and we have a Canan. She's head of the international company in Turkey, and also she's the strongest woman leader, in Turkey. Also, we have the Özgür Bey. Özgür Bey has the two different. Actually, the role of them is he is the head of the MES, and also he is the director of the human resources in the Koç Holding, Koç Group. So welcome everyone. So I'm going to start, of course, with the lady. So I'm going to ask first Canan. First of all, Canan, let us know you a little bit more. What are you doing? What is your role? And also, can you give us first of the outlook? What was the outlook of the Industry 4.0 before the pandemic, and how it's changing right now? How the companies modified and transformed their strategies on this matter? Is there any really big shifts in the corporate strategy side about this Industry 4.0 after the pandemic, or actually we are still in the pandemic right now, the green pandemic? So, yes, stage is yours.
Thank you very much, İhsan Bey. Good morning, everyone. It's a great pleasure and an honor to be on this panel and speaking to all of you at this moment. This is a great organization that we follow each and every year. And being part of this valuable organization, even if online, helps us to understand what's going on in the industries, especially with a focus on quality. So my name is Canan ÖZSOY. I am the president and CEO of General Electric Company in Turkey. We have four main areas of industrial operations and manufacturing in Turkey. We are here since 1940. We work with aviation, commercial, and military. We work in all colors of energy that is fossil fuel generated and energy that is generated through any means of renewable sources. We have a healthcare company, and so we have been at the very heart of the pandemic in Turkey trying to help. And also we have a digital company that works in digitalization, digital transformation of industries. So everything changes fast is the motto of our times, before, during, and most probably after the pandemic. Before the pandemic, digital transformation was the number one goal for almost each and every company globally. In order to be swiftly equipped with skills, particularly in cloud computing and industrial Internet of Things, companies have allocated more resources in these areas. As a result, we started developing those skills that have turned out to be vital in the present state of our world, including flexibility, smart manufacturing, ecosystem management, consolidated service experiences, and multi-channel service offering, all with a very rapid adaptation. With the outbreak of the pandemic, the pace of change has further accelerated. Companies of all sizes desired to keep up with this rapid change through digitalization. Today, we observe that those organizations which boast digital skills have developed the habit of leveraging them, manage the changes that we have encountered in the pandemic in a much easier, much swift way. Flexible and agile organizations that can quickly adapt to the unexpected dynamics and take new decisions quickly overcame this period relatively successfully. Propelled by this awareness, companies have started to implement their digital transformation plans more rapidly to keep up with the world. It has taken only 2 months globally for us to reach the target level for digital transformation, though it would normally require 5 years. According to a McKinsey survey, many of us shifted towards home working, while schools have quickly adopted remote education. Use of telemedicine applications grow increasingly today, and we seamlessly perform remote maintenance for giant plants, production lines, and aircraft engines. We continue to maintain almost all aspects of life through digital platforms. A comparison between pre-pandemic and pre-pandemic use of digital channels in the world includes the following. The use of digital banking has gone up from 51% to 73%. Media and entertainment use from 40% to 64%. Use of virtual markets from 30 to 61%, and online clothing shopping from 31 to 41%. And this is a study that has done this measure in the first 3 months of the pandemic. I am sure if I had the data today, it's going to be even a deeper penetration. Another post-pandemic change has been the accelerated adoption of e-commerce, especially by segments that were not there. For example, we have a totally new segment, the 65 plus, who have been home much more than you and I have been. They were not digital platform users by habit, but they have become an important part of the growth. The pandemic struck almost all sectors, and its initial negative effects on the manufacturing industry were disruptions in the supply chain. Many SMEs and startups were shut down. Number of workers were decreased as workers' health must be considered. The capacity utilization rate in the manufacturing industry in Turkey suddenly dropped. Currently, it's again at 75% level, but previously it was 80%. And cash flow has already been important, but now it is critical. Those with poor digital sales channels were unable to receive and fulfill orders, especially the organizations who own plants maturing in digital transformation were affected less. Instead of stopping their operations, they seized significant competitive advantage. For example, industrial organizations that utilize the industrial production management systems that also we offer to the manufacturing industry, hospitals that use our or others' telehealth applications powered by big data, and those energy plants that have energy generation and distribution companies that use industrial Internet of Things. They did not have to discontinue their service. Before finishing my words for the first question, let me give an example from GE in the healthcare area. In April, when COVID-19 spread all around the globe, GE healthcare team swiftly implemented the Mural COVID-19 solution, which ensures remote monitoring of patients in the intensive care, all sorts of data on the ICU patient from various systems are combined through this software, while doctors can monitor multiple patients at the same time. Their interference, made with artificial intelligence support, protects also the healthcare professionals. They don't need to touch the patient as often as in the conventional method. So this enabled with less healthcare providers, more care, protecting the patient from outside input, and also protecting the healthcare professional from the ill patient. We have many other examples, and I would like to elaborate more on them as we go forward. Thank you for the great question, by the way.
Thank you very much for informative, and the explanation is great. Thank you very much. Now I'm passing to the Francisco. Actually, Francisco, of course, first of all, we need to understand what is the purpose of advanced manufacturing and production platform. Also, as I know, there is a action group like Lighthouse concept. Can you give us about little information about you and these organizations and the project?
Well, absolutely, Ihsan, and thank you for hosting us today. It is a honor and a privilege as well. So thank you for that. For those who are not familiar with it, the World Economic Forum is an international organization for public-private cooperation, which means that we work not just with companies, but also with governments, academia, and civil society to help address some of the most challenging issues that they is facing today. The platform that I'm in charge of is what we call the Platform for Shaping the Future of Advanced Manufacturing and Production, and it's looking specifically at how advanced manufacturing, Industry 4.0, intelligent manufacturing, as it is called in China, how all these technologies in combinations are driving the transformation of three main things. The first one, of course, is factories and facilities. The second one, and that, of course, should continuously drive efficiencies and increase productivity. The second one is the transformation of business models. And I believe that that's the most exciting development that we are seeing enabled by Industry 4.0. And our colleague from GE just shared a few examples as well coming from their company. But it's the ability to start engaging with customers in new ways and deliver new value and develop new value propositions, which I believe is how we are going to drive economic growth in the future. And then the third one is really looking at how new business ecosystems are forming and taking shape within the framework of the transformations that we are seeing. Now, we do that, as again, working with governments, companies, academia, and civil society. What is interesting is that the levels of collaboration and cooperation that we saw during the pandemic were unprecedented. And that helped us massively accelerate the adoption of digital technologies of Industry 4.0 in a more broader sense. Maybe let me highlight that if you look at the pre-COVID scenario and the post-COVID scenario, the scenario in which we are in today, pre-COVID, there was already a sort of a perfect storm forming the horizon. And that perfect storm was driven by the fourth industrial revolution and technologies that were taking a new pace and reaching new tipping points, enable new transformations, both at a factory and broader business level. To that, we need to add the geopolitical context, which, as we know, is quite turbulent still today. And in addition to that, the pressure on the environment, climate change, which is becoming a priority for more and more companies and governments. So if you look at the pre-COVID scenario and you combine fourth industrial revolution, the geopolitical, geoeconomic landscape, the imperative for sustainability and the pressure coming from climate, there was already a perfect storm forming the horizon. Now, what COVID did was to massively accelerate the development and the deployment of this storm that today is not with us. And for the very first time, we have seen manufacturing and supply systems more broadly disrupted simultaneously, both on the demand and the supply side. Now, again, what is interesting, that forced all stakeholders and not only companies to come together in new ways and develop new solutions. Let me maybe just conclude by sharing a few words about one specific initiative that we have, which is what we call the Global Lighthouse Network. So something that we did, and we started 3 years ago, was to identify those manufacturing facilities, but also more broadly those value chains that are already seeing the operational benefit and financial impact of Industry 4.0. And we started to work with those companies to open up their facilities and work as, let's say, guiding lights or posts on lights for the broader manufacturing community to be able to learn from them. And why I'm mentioning this is because when it comes to Turkey specifically, there are 3 facilities that are part of this global network of lighthouses. It's an exclusive network. There are only 54. We have a Ford Otosan facility. We have a Petkim facility, both based in Turkey. But also, and this is interesting, we have an amazing Arçelik facility, which is based in Romania. But of course, the design and development was Turkey. So I think that it's very interesting to see in this new landscape how Turkey is taking a leading role, how some Turkish companies are at the forefront of the transformation. And when you hear how they were able to respond to the pandemic, it's incredible to see how successful and how efficient they were, as my colleague from G mentioned, because they had adopted significant levels of digitizations that were agile, flexible, and ready to respond to the disruptions.
how they reach these organizations through the mass, I guess, right? Do we have a collaboration with the mass, the link with the mass? For Turkish companies, I'm asking.
We have a long-standing and successful partnership with MES, and maybe Özgür, you want to comment on that as well. We are working closely on the identification of the companies. We're working closely on several programs that are supporting managers in Turkey. And I think what is exciting about the MES Forum collaboration is that we are leveraging our global knowledge to further inform what is happening in Turkey and the decisions that are being made by companies in Turkey. But we are also using Turkey as a great and amazing example and for the development of new proof of concepts that help us inform our global conversation. So I would say that through MES and the partnership with the forum, I mean, Turkey is on top of the global agenda and the global scene.
Okay, nice. Then through that conversation, we will go to the Özgür Bey, and also I would like to ask you, Özgür Bey, about the Offshore Mass Technology Center. You established it, and it's, you know, lots of people are talking about it. It has a good influence right now. So give us, how would you describe the innovative role of these players in your network? And also maybe you can talk about a little bit more about your relationship with the World Economic Forum, this concept. And also, of course, you can give a little bit more info about yourself from the beginning.
Thank you very much, İhsan Bey. Thank you and good morning to everyone. I wish healthy, safe, and happy days to everyone. Thank you, Calder family, for organizing this great event once again. I'm the chairman of Turkish Employers Association of Metal Industries, İhsan Bey, and also the chairman of Turkish Confederation of Employer Association, basically TİSK. TİSK represents 2 million of employment in our country and 1/4 of our country's GDP, and almost more than 100 billion US dollar export. First of all, I want to talk briefly about Turkish Employers Association of Metal Industries. It's the union that has actually brought this technology center into being. The Union of Metal Industries of Turkey is home to leading companies in sectors that drive growth and employment, İhsan Bey. Which industries? Basic automotive, iron, steel casting, durable goods, vital for Turkish economy. We have more than 250 members that contribute $60 billion to the economy of our country every year. We directly employ more than 200,000 people and indirectly create jobs for more than 1 million people. The exports of our members account for 40% of all Turkey's export. And we invest not only in the future of our members and colleagues, but also in the future of our country. That's why we are here today. That's why we are here with Francisco as well. And that's why we decided to be the pioneer of digital transformation of Turkish industry. As you know better than I do, digital transformation will contribute to the enrichment of our country and increase, hopefully, employment through value-added production. For that reason, we have worked hard many years to drive Turkey's digital transformation. And I am proud to say that we built MEXT, the world's most comprehensive and biggest digital transformation and capability center, and World Economic Forum is supporting and contributing a lot to our center. We did the global launch of MEXT at Business Insider Global Trends Festival in last October. Let me briefly mention about why this center and why this organization is the most comprehensive in the world. Because we look at our work at MEXT under 4 headings. One is digital factory. The first and maybe the most important is our digital factory, consisting of 2 lines. The factory offers the opportunity to develop, test, and exhibit new technologies in production, manufacturing, which is vital for employment and export in Turkey. Our digital factory has already broken new ground with several initiatives. For example, our digital factory is the first production facility in Turkey supported by end-to-end 5G technology. The 2 production lines at the factory have more than 100 production and use cases showing how technology, state-of-the-art, latest technology is used in manufacturing. This is one aspect actually that distinguishes it from other facilities in the world that struggle to reach 20-25 production use cases. The second headings I would like to mention actually is digital transformation consultancy in industry. First, we set out with an assessment of the situation of our members to understand where they stand in their digital transformation. And then we produce a roadmap, again, to our members, showing how to reach their goal and prepare projects to support that journey. And we help them by showing where they are compared to similar factors around the world. World Economic Forum, again, is supporting this initiative. And they are showing the best lighthouses according to digital transformation and Industry 4.0. And we compare our members' situations with global best practices. And we remain by our members' side until they get to where they want to be. The third one is Capability Center. Of course, we have established the digital factory. We have a roadmap for the transformation of our members. But all is great, but the most important thing is the human factor, obviously. İhsan Bey, and in your speeches, you mentioned and you underline the importance of this factor every time. I know this. It's essential to train up the human resources needed for digital transformation. And for me, it's the most important, again, characteristic. To that end, we cooperate with the best corporations and universities in the world and in our country. We have prepared Turkey's most comprehensive digital transformation curriculum. The curriculum is tailored to our needs and in line with the requirements of our country. We have prepared customized trainings and development programs for employees of each level, from managers to engineers to operators, even to CEOs of the organizations. And we provide more than 2 million hours of training specific to digital transformation to 250,000 people over a couple of years. The fourth one is ecosystem. I guess where this area İhsan Bey has the most experience than all of us. I also would like to stress that digital transformation is a continuous process, and you cannot ever think you have finished this process. For this reason, the services we provide at Max must be continually improved and renewed. You also have to be in close contact with the partners that support you. That's why we have created a robust ecosystem at Max and put it at the disposal of our members, our industrialists. We have right now the center is a hub for Turkish industrialists to meet more than 40 world leaders in technology and solutions. Arçelik, Bosch, Siemens, Cisco, ABB, SAP, AWS, Dynamics, and Google are among many other brands with us at Max. McKinsey consulting company has worked with us since the establishment of our system and has joined our ecosystem. Fraunhofer Institute partnered in us in maturity evaluation. Plug and Play, the largest startup network in the world, is opening its first office at Max in Turkey for the region. This all actually a startup acceleration program that will help local entrepreneurs hopefully expand globally. Let me give very small explanation about what we are doing with World Economic Forum. The fourth Industrial Revolution Centers under the umbrella of World Economic Forum represent the most extensive communication network in the world, and MES was the first employers union to join this international network in the world. We are aware that being a part of the WEF has great benefits for both our members and country. And we are working very closely with Francisco, Murat Bey, and their team and massively support our members who want to join this network individually again. This is a short, fast summary about what we are trying to do.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's detailed. It's nice. Actually, based on the Francisco and Özgür Bey's talks, two things is most important. I need to emphasize it again. The business model innovation, which Francisco mentioned. Actually, it's important last 5 years, but now it's more important than ever. And Özgür Bey mentioned to the human. Human is, of course, always it's important, but today it's the most critical things. If you don't have right human, talented human, you can't do anything without them. So passing from the ecosystem mentioned to the Özgür Bey, actually I believe that the platform company is a really important issue concept. When people say the platform companies, they understand that they're like marketplaces. Not I'm talking about all the companies. They are the platform, which means that they need an ecosystem. They need to work all together. So my question to you, on the topic of the ecosystem, the companies come up with the internal solutions mainly in the Industry 4.0, or do they prefer progress through external resources, partnership? Because we do the lots of partnerships with the companies. Actually, the GE mindset is doing a partnership with the companies, solve their pains, create maybe together new products. But also I'm asking that they are doing this partnership with just only large corporations, or do they also include other players like a startup environment? Do they do something with the founders, the entrepreneurs, or the different issues? Actually, the main of the question, do they do this innovation, try to do it inside of the company, or they trying to create an ecosystem which the message helping, or people inform helping, they create the ecosystem and do it? What do you see? And also, what do you recommend?
Yeah, the short answer is both, and the recommendation is both. And let me try to explain what I mean. In this development and transition, every country, every company, and every factory both use out-of-the-box solutions and develop their own solutions for Industry 4.0. What matters is focusing on innovation and adopting it wholly as part of a corporate culture while avoiding reinventing the wheel. There are some companies who take a long time because they want to do everything themselves. And there are those others that only get it from the outside, but then they have difficulties in consuming it, in making it part of their company culture. Currently, proven state-of-the-art solutions are available in the modern industry around the globe. Innovations are being made in the manufacturing industry. However, basically, it is necessary to have such systems as automation, production management systems, ERP in place. In the age of Industry 4.0, factories, manufacturing sites should focus on first, developing effective and long-standing collaborations with the right service providers for their industry, for their work, for their size, quickly adapting the solutions proven successful worldwide, promptly migrating core processes to the digital infrastructure, and starting data collection at every point of operation. We live in a business world shaped by data. Data is a key player in every sector. Every innovation, including smart factories, predictive systems, error-free artificial intelligence applications, advanced sensor technologies, digital twins with cost and failure analysis capabilities, 3D printing, and cloud platforms offering flexibility, is powered by data. We continue our operations under the umbrella of GE Digital in order to offer the latest services in many fields, including Industry 4.0. We work together with both developers and system integrators. Together with our GE Digital business partners, we work on applications, delivering network optimization and analytics, asset and operation performance management, and production operation and automation. We believe in the importance of and advantage of cooperation. Relying on our collaborations, we currently have a portfolio of approximately 80 solutions, 80. They include services such as advanced energy management systems, industrial cybersecurity solutions, digital twins, digital transformation management, machine learning systems, health data management, cloud production in predicts, and remote operation. There are also startups among the companies we work with. In fact, in 2007, we started working with FastWorks method based on the lean startup model. Lean, as most of you may already know, is a version of the lean enterprise approach that is applied to corporations. We developed this method by taking Silicon Valley as an example. We enabled GE, a company of 360,000 employees, to operate like a small startup. As a result, as is the case with many other large global corporations, we can easily maintain effective collaborations with startups. I hope it answers your question.
Actually, very well explanation. Actually, your lean startup philosophy helps lots of companies in the world. Actually, it was great. So I met with the guy Eric Ries, and also I translated the book in Turkish. That's why I know it very well. Coming back to Francisco, after this, actually, you can give some more recommendations also inside of the questions, because people, I can see from the question part, they are asking for the recommendations for themselves. The first part of the questions talking about ourselves more, but now giving more recommendation to the crowd. So actually, I'm trying to ask you how the pandemic accelerate innovation, but it's not so critical question. Actually, the critical part, the other side, how can we keep innovation at the speed at post-pandemic? How can we keep us? Because, people always asking, I can see the questions all at the same time. They say, we have lots of problems for daily. So how can we focus on the innovation at the same time? So, of course, they can be a part of your communities, like Özgür Bey's, your parts, and also what they can do? How can we, catch the speed?
Absolutely, and let me be built on what my colleague shared before. I think that part of the answer is that Industry 4.0 is an ecosystem game and play. There's no company on its own that will address it and be able to develop all the solutions that are. So the work that GE is doing, the work that MES is doing through its center, through the different initiatives that they're running in parallel, I mean, it's essential, because we are only be able to keep innovation at a new pace if we are able to continue working together in the same way that we were able to work together during the pandemic. And just look at three developments that were in the works for a long time, but were massively accelerated by COVID-19. I mean, the first one is of course, what was the response to the public health crisis. We saw many companies in Turkey doing amazing efforts to start producing from sanitizers to PPE, all the way to ventilators. I mean, the level of innovation and collaboration that took place, in a period of less than 3 months was incredible and impressive. The second one is that we will need to collaborate and work with new ecosystems to reach the new levels of agility, flexibility, and resilience that are going to be needed to succeed going forward. And that's purely the adoption of technology. And that's why we need multiple platforms for people to be able to, first of all, understand what the new pain points, what are the new operational and business issues that companies are facing, and then work together to develop new solutions. Now, one of the things that I believe that, why MES, it's quite unique, and it's unique in the world, is because it brings together not just the business community, but works closely with governmental agencies and has a very rich network of academic institutions and innovators. So that's what allows, companies to quickly develop those new solutions that are needed to address the new problems. And then there's, something that we also need to take into account is that the way in which, and Ihsan, you were referring that when you mentioned, again, the point on business models, the way in which we will be interacting with our customers has changed and will probably be different, in the post-COVID scenario. So accelerating innovation, accelerating e-commerce, enabling a new, and mainly through connectivity, enabling new ways in which value chains can operate and can deliver value to customers by leveraging the power of data is going to be essential going forward. And let me maybe sum up by highlighting a few points and doing a quick recap. So I think that, the importance of the ecosystem and being aware that Industry 4.0 and the ability to build resilience is an ecosystem play. It's number one. The second one is that we will need to accelerate technology adoption if we want to keep agility and flexibility to be able to continue responding to new disruptions. And the one we are facing today came from COVID-19. The next one may come from climate change or another crisis. So we need to be ready and future-proof our manufacturing and supply chains through technologies. The third one is the need to continue exploring new ways of delivering value. And once again, I'm convinced that that's how companies are going to drive forward. It's not just with the optimization of their operations, but it's by engaging with customers in new ways. And data, AI, a lot of technologies are opening a new full spectrum opportunities there. And then finally, I think it's, and Özgür is working a lot on this topic, but I think it's keeping people at the center, leveraging technology to empower the workforce. We will most likely continue continue working remotely for a long time, or at least in a hybrid way. So the importance of taking care of people, putting the workers at the forefront of the discussion is going to be another key success factor going forward.
Really, really, really good advices. Okay, thank you very much. So when I'm doing the summary of the panel, I took lots of notes from this speech. Thank you. So passing to the Özgür Bey again, this pandemic period, okay, we understand what your organizations are doing right now, but for the specifically pandemic, how did you do the relations with your, members? What services did you offer your members, or, what did you follow in the pandemic period? And also there is one more question I saw in the chat box about you. Do you have any brother sister relation in the companies in the mess? If I want to be a brother of the other company, can we do this? And there is one question like that.
Thank you. İhsan Bey, first of all, I sincerely believe that we are experiencing very tough times, and from an individual perspective or from organizational perspectives, from companies' perspective, we have to do everything we can to support our communities, our countries, our world. And MES tried to do this and is trying to do this in this pandemic period. We can split these into two main headings, actually. One, support for our members and organizations, and support for employees and their families. In this support for our members division, we offered the most comprehensive support package in our country outside the public sector. We brought support payments forward and made a 2-year payment of 400 million Turkish lira at once. And we also deferred membership fees for 6 months. We distribute millions of masks to our members free of charge at the beginning of pandemic, when masks were impossible to find or astronomically expensive. You remember this period, especially in March and April. Now we manufacture masks at a fixed price so that our members have access to a guaranteed supply. We started an initiative we call MES Safe, Turkish version is Mesafe, to support our efforts with technology. This product aims to preserve social distance and can be used both as a wearable solution and a phone application. We opened the common purchase platform we began preparing months earlier. We support excellence in occupational safety and employee health through the inspection-oriented new normal adaptation program, and all our members can access this program for free. These are a couple of examples that we did for our members. When I look at what we have done for our employees and families, we expanded the scope of complementary health insurance policy to include COVID-19 treatment, and it's the Turkish largest health insurance policy, and we were the only employers union in Turkey to take a step. We opened a special discount shopping channel to contribute to the family budget without going to markets, a delivery system, and we provide discounts of over 40% to our employees and their families. Training is a very important and was a very important tool, especially when the lockdowns were in practice. We trained mass employees on the online platform, ensuring constant access for employees and their families. The coding training we had prepared for the children of employees was offered online to all children through EBA system, the government's online channel during the pandemic. And despite the pandemic conditions, very tough conditions at the beginning, we continued to grant educational scholarships to more than 6,000 children of our employees attending the vocational high schools. And we also made early payments of scholarships, this funding in this period. These are a couple of examples, but most of them are very unique. We are trying to support our members and their employees and families.
Yeah, it's great. You did lots of things for your members. Actually, coming back to our topic with the Canan Hanım, you mentioned that about the data, but try to be a little bit sum up about your thoughts in the digitalization approach, because you know our latest economic plan, the government focus on the big data more than ever. So just maybe summarize your ideas again. And also, of course, this is my last question for you. What kind of recommendations will you give to improve the Turkey's global competitiveness? You know, the country side, I'm asking the question, not the company side, because you are in one of the biggest international company, you know, the GE, you can see the other countries also. I know some of them is so typical, you know, sentences, but we need to hear from you again. What can be our competitive edge, or what can we do for our competitiveness? Canan, you are silent. You are silent.
In order to avoid echo, I put myself on mute. Thank you for reminding me. This is a great and a big question. Probably the answer requires a lot more time, but being conscious that we have 18 minutes left and two other important speakers to finish up their last round, I'll try to summarize it. Currently, in Turkey, there are cautious approaches. I mean, the mess example is a great one, but that's only one example. If you look at the total industry, our efforts as a country to digitize is cautious first approaches. We are still in the first stages. The decision to digitalize and implement may take a while for the industrial companies. However, certain measures and decisions can be taken to render the Turkish manufacturing industry more competitive. More flexible teams, a digital work environment, diversified, flexible supply chains, effective IT/OT infrastructure, transition to management systems, whatever. We all know that, but it's one thing to know, the other thing to do it. As we always emphasize, digital transformation should be addressed as a whole. Merely investing in technology or infrastructure or just starting new collaborations may not prove sufficient. And companies who are adopting these may say, what is this? It's not useful. They need to look at it holistically. They need to be patient. They need to do everything right. And then the rewards are going to be not only for the company, but also for the country. A key investment to be made first before engaging in this venture is to allocate necessary time for strategic planning. We in Turkey are doers. We just go and do something. We see something somebody does and we copy paste it. You need to think and strategically plan, and this is true not only for the companies, but also for our country. What is the 10-year strategic planning vision of Turkish government for manufacturing, for industries, for digitalization. We don't have a strategic focus. It looks to me like we are trying to do everything at the same time, and then a little bit of everything, and then it takes us longer to see the progress. Don't get me wrong, it's not only to criticize. I value and respect everything that is being done. They are all very important. But if we don't focus to a certain area and show impact, we cannot make the transition in other industries. What is Turkey successful at? Automotives, durable white goods, electronics, healthcare. There are many things that we do better than an average emerging country. So we should define, together with industries and organizations like MES, maybe supported strategically by organizations like WEF, think together with the government and say the strategic focus of Turkey for the next 10 years is 3 industries, and this is how I'm going to incentivize your digital transformation. So I think in the new economic program, one thing that came out very strongly was the incentives for digitization and other industrialization efforts and for foreign investment to come to Turkey, which is very good, but that is only in the program. The execution phase is not yet ready. So we visited our president immediately after, not we, not myself, but Yaset, for the Foreign Investors Association, International Investors Association, and it was translated quickly, and I was invited to a working group with TOB, Turkish Chamber of Commerce, Francisco, and also by TEPAV, our Technology Policy Advisory Foundation. And together we are working on how to propose to the presidency a package of incentives that help us achieve the new economic programs, digital transformation, and foreign manufacturing investment to come into Turkey and to integrate Turkish SMEs into global value chains of international companies. So many things are important, but today I think as we have the basics in place, we need to have the strategic focus at least for a 10-year period so people can take position accordingly. We need to have an incentive system that works quickly, one stop, one shop, that advises SMEs how to get these incentives and move. And then, of course, productivity, cost, quality, capacity utilization, these are all important things that we have. But in this time and era, what is important is sustainability, agility, endurance, flexibility, and diversity. For companies, this is what I prescribe, and for countries, the strategic focus, the long-term planning, and then incentive scheme that matches what you want to become is critically important. Thank you for listening to me.
Very well explanation actually. I'm strongly agree about whatever you want to do, you should do based on your competency. In this country, whatever, because we are trying to do everything with everyone, but we can't do it. We need to focus on our competencies, create value around them. So the second thing is, as an entrepreneur, execution is the most important part. If you don't have any execution, there is nothing to say. Passing to Francisco, just we are, the time is a little bit limited. Give us about your, you mentioned the resilience. So what can we do to reconfigure our supply chain resilience? Just 2-3 main points about that. And also the same question for you. What do you recommend to the countries being competitive in this area? Not just only Turkey, but Canan explained very well, actually. If you want to add something to that, you can add about being competitive in the country-based.
No, absolutely. And maybe I'll keep my answer short. I know we're running behind schedule. So on the first point on resilience, I think that probably priorities are to accelerate the adoption of technology and help accelerate the adoption of technology. We know that those manufacturing supply systems that were more flexible and agile, thanks to the power of technology, were able to allow to respond in a better way to the crisis. So I think that, again, technology, and then people is the second part. 70% of tasks in manufacturing remain human driven. So manufacturing, is still driven by humans, and jobs in manufacturing are not all going away thanks to automation. Automation is, yes, replacing repetitive, dangerous tasks, and we're going to see a transitions of the type of activities and tasks that we perform in manufacturing. But if you combine technology and people in the right way and use technology to augment worker capabilities, I think that gives you a very great mix that will make you more resilient. And then at a broader supply level, and we are seeing many companies doing that, try to diversify, try to have multiple sources, try to with your suppliers in new ways. I think that one of the things that the crisis revealed is that everyone knew what the stock levels of the tier 1 suppliers were, but farther down the road, there was better clarity. So using digitization to bring transparency and visibility across your supply chains is going to be essential to be able to monitor. And I believe that we will be moving also, at the global level, from what we used to call economies of scale into economies of technology and skills. So really having comprehensive plans at the company level that make the right investment for the long time, even if in the shorter period, that doesn't mean necessarily, bringing costs to a minimum. Now, if you take more a macro view and you look at the national and international level, and the public-private community, and you take a look at what not only Germany, France, Italy, some of the worldly manufacturing nations did, but also what Brazil, South Africa is doing, they are all informing the development of strategic and long Industry 4.0 strategies and plans through public-private cooperation. It is essential that the next generations of plans are designed and developed in collaboration with the private sector, with the research institutions and universities, and the workers' associations, the civil society as well. I mean, if they can all play the role in designing the new strategies, what we have seen is that the countries who were able to do that have been so far the most successful. And I think that if you have in place a comprehensive Industry 4.0 strategy, and my colleague from G mentioned that becomes indeed your best tool for FDI attraction. And I really like what both of you mentioned and Canan, which is, building from the strengths that a country has. I mean, Turkey has world-leading sectors in the manufacturing space. There's the electronics, auto. Those are world-leading exporting industries. I mean, I'm sure that you can use those as as your lighthouses from what you can learn and help others in the nation develop and accelerate the digitization. And then finally, I think that the point was made before, but they need to support SMEs, easing the access to technology for them, coming up with new financing mechanisms, because large corporations are already ahead of the game and do have the capacity, most likely internally, to make the right investments in research and developments, in training. But when it comes to the broader network of SMEs, those are the ones that are most likely going to be left behind if corporations, governments, and the broader manufacturing community don't work together to support them, guide them, coach them in this transformation that we are going to go through, not just at level, but more broadly globally.
Great. It's a broad and a wide answer. Thank you very much. Özgür Bey, just I'm trying to ask a question for our audience, actually. What are your future plans in the mass, as a mass? What do you plan? Actually, you mentioned lots of things you have started and you are focusing on, so you need to scale all of them. I know that. But if you have a different future plans about that, if you have a new guidance for your companies, let us know, because we have lots of entrepreneurs or SMEs and the big companies listening to us right now. They need to learn about your future plans.
Thank you, İhsan. Basically, our members and employees and colleagues and our country, these three pillars of future perspective are quite important. And we know the digital transformation of organizations and workforce is a very long marathon. The services, the current services offered by Next and MES in the field of digital transformation and Industry 4.0 provides our members and our colleagues with unique opportunities. And for the next 2-3 years, MEX will help companies stand out from the competition and look to the future with much more confidence. Today, our mission is actually to prepare for the future, is to guide digital transformation. However, our guess on this matter is a continuous process. As time goes on, I believe we may offer different answers, different solutions to the same question. We may change our approach. Why? Because the environment is changing rapidly. The technology is improving again rapidly. The generation is changing. So I am sure in the next a couple of years we will offer different answers and different solutions. And with this vision, maybe a small part of an answer to your question, we serve not only our members, but all companies. On this opportunity, I want to give our business world and audience a message, set out for digital transformation. The sooner and the better. MEX is ready to guide you on this journey. And with this perspective, MEX will be the information center, not only for Turkey, but also for the region.
Thank you very much. I was taking the notes also. Now, actually, it's a 1-hour panel and it's finished very fastly. Actually, it was a great to listen to all of you. You know, you give the really, really good questions and detailed questions, informative. So I'm trying to just summarize in 2 or 3 sentences. So as I understand from your speech, this innovation, this digitalization or data, Industry 4.0, it's not just about pandemic or post-pandemic. It's about our new life. It was started before pandemic, actually. So we should take care of that in all period in our life. So we need to focus on human more than ever, because whatever we do, digitalization or the innovation, human also in the center, and also the intellectual level of the human is more important than the ever, because everything is getting more complex. And the second side, business model innovation also important. You know, the technology or the other things is the part of the innovation, but not the. They are not only the part. We need to change our business models. We reconfigure our business models based on all the changes in the world. And the resilience, it's a really important word. You know, last 2 years we were talking about that, but after the pandemic, it's the most important things. So for the resilience, as you both mentioned, that we need to be adaptation. It's we need our adaptation level should increase, flexibility increase, agility will increase. So for that, we need maybe Canan mentioned that we need a startup ways in our companies, you know, like a lean startup or entrepreneurial methodologies, behavior and acts in our company to be a more agile, more easy to adapt new things. These are the things, you know, in my mind, but also we just last minute we focus on the countryside competitiveness. So you said lots of things about that, but in the summary, we need to innovate for our countries also, not just for ourselves. Otherwise, we can't create add value. So if you don't have any add value, you will not have the profit. You can not take the foreign investment in your country. So that's why we should focus on our competencies, which industries we need to focus on which industries where we are strong. As Canan mentioned, that the automotive or textile, agriculture, and also health right now. These are the really important, industries in Turkey. So we need innovation digitally around that, and we can have maybe the regional role about these issues. Like last pandemic period, we saw that our, the health is really did good job in Turkey. The hospitals and around that, all the industries around health. So thanks for all of you, for your time, for your ideas, for your support. I'm sure we will see each other again. Thanks for everything.
Thank you, İhsan Bey. Thank you, Calder. Thank you, Canan and Francisco.
Thanks.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.